What is your biggest regret from high school you wish you could go back and do over? I, quite simply, wouldn't be so damn shy. I had lots of problems in high school and I have a shitload of regrets, but pretty much all of them stem from my crippling shyness. I guess there are various causes for that which I could go into, but fuck it, I'm not a psychologist. See, I would go back and rise above the them versus us bullshit. In our school there were two main groups, something like jocks versus greaseballs. Looking back on it, I just wonder why we could not all get along. I like to think we were the good guys, a bit like Harry Potter's gang versus the Slytherins. However, surely they would also think they were the good guys. In reality, I wonder if I did get the opportunity to go back. A part of me wonders if I would just write it off to yup, they were a bunch of dicks and no changing that. I will get downvoted for this severely, but I would skip more school and be a little more adventurous. I followed the rules too much and didn't take enough risks. I always regret that I was too chicken to do silly pranks or just be more bold. It would have been cool to have really dated Marie. My friend went up to a guy and asked him if he was gay. When he responded yes, she said EWW and left. I wish I told her to stop being so mean and judgmental. I also had a small crush on him, so that was kind of disappointing. I would definitely work on my grades better. I regret not doing well because I was lazy. I think about this one a lot. I was a senior in high school at my very first dance. I technically didn't have a date, but me and this girl were always by each other's side. So we're on the dance floor and one of her hot friends comes up, and she is a really nice girl, comes and gives me a hug and we dance a little bit and she tells me to grab her butt. Instead of obliging what this beautiful young lady wanted, I panic and say no thanks. She laughs and says okay. This woman had quite easily the best ass in our entire school and I said no to grabbing it. Easily one of my most regrettable moments in high school. If I could go back I would in a heartbeat. Wasting much of my emotion and time on a girlfriend that was gone the moment high school was as well. I was, unfortunately, one of those guys who would fully invest the moment I was dating someone, and dating her the last 2 years of high school really kept me from staying close to many of my high school friends. I wouldn't have chosen to do the IB, or maybe I would have chosen to try harder. I wish I spent a little less time worrying about school, and a little more time just having fun. I also wish I had come out of my shell earlier. I got pretty outgoing during my college years, but during high school, I was super shy and didn't really like dealing with anyone outside my group of friends, which ironically is how I am again now. It might just be my natural state. I would have liked to have made more friends early on in high school. I only really had like 4 or 5 friends from grade 7-10, and done more dating. Maybe have actually approached my crushes. Instead of just hoping they ask me out, I ended up dating and later marrying one of my crushes who did eventually ask me out, but it didn't end great. Maybe one of the other ones would have fared better. Being an asshole that would talk shit for 9th and 10th grade, I figured it out, quit my bullshit, and gained a lot more friends and social networks 11th and 12th. Not live under the thought that what other people think of me is more important than what I think of myself. Had a girl just throwing the pussy at me and I could not understand the signals like a typical high school kid. Fucking hell. Not be Mormon for the first 3 years of it. It really messed me up socially for a while and I really missed out on a lot of being a teenager. I wish I had actually went to school. I missed 125 days my senior year and graduated with a 3.8. I can't even imagine what I would have done if I had shown up. Asking girl number 2 out. Not girl number 1. Girl number 1 friend-zoned the fuck out of me. Wish I didn't go to 6 different high schools. Backstory: my favorite musician artist is Josh Homme. I worship his style of guitar playing, and always have. His first band, Chaos, before Queens of the Stone Age, used to play all-night festivals out in the deserts of Southern California. Grab a keg, start up a generator, and play music until the gas runs out. I grew up in extremely rural Maine. I played guitar. I played in a punk rock band. We were surrounded by countless miles of secluded forest, where we could have done what we pleased. I wish more than anything that I had started up those festivals, and been able to be part of something like that. Not asking this girl out. I'm an idiot. My junior prom I got too drunk at the pre-party and ended up not going. I actually won prom queen that night, the following Monday morning myself, along with a few other prom court members who also didn't attend because we were too drunk, actually got served 5 detentions because of not showing up, and we had to all dress back up in our prom attire the following week to take fake prom pictures for the yearbook. A girl, man, my first real relationship, and it was perfect for nearly 3 years. We were always happy, always doing stupid couple stuff, blah blah. Anyways, college came up, and I got it in my head that I was doing a sort of good by breaking up with her, because it had just happened in a worse way in college anyway. Well, anyway, we broke up. It took a couple times, because in reality she was my best friend and every time we'd break up, we'd get right back together in a week. But then I'd do something like tell her I no longer loved her, lies, to try to distance myself again. Well, the gist of it is, the relationship turned corrupt, turned ugly, different people got involved and everyone got hurt. Hell, we probably wouldn't have made it anyway, but I will always regret hurting that poor girl that I cared so much for. Well, I would say take advantage of how I used to look in high school. I was a pretty good looking guy and I flirted with a lot of girls, and they always flirted back. But sometime in high school, I started dating my wife who I have been with for 6 years. I would say that I wish I could take advantage of all of the girls I could be with, but then I probably wouldn't have been with my lovely, wonderful wife. I wouldn't trade all the Vagu in the world for my wife. Super jammin' having someone that loves me so much. I wish I hadn't have dated the same girl, off and on, all 4 years. I sometimes feel like I kinda missed out on some other girls. Bonus. I wish I wouldn't have stopped skateboarding. Stupid sister's friends said girls don't like skaters and I fell for it because they were older. I threw a frozen juice over the roof of a courtyard and cracked the vice principal in the head, knocked her to the ground. No one found out who threw it and I got away with it. I'd totally go back and take the blame and apologize because 14 years later I still feel like a cunt. I wouldn't skip class and I would have actually graduated. This might sound kinda strange, but I wouldn't have had sex so early in my life. I was in a terrible rush to grow up, and looking back at it I could have spent more time hanging out with my friends just being a dumb teenager. There was this guy who had a crush on me and I had one on him. I never acted on this as he was a little nerdy and did not fit in with my circle. Even if it did not work out, at least I will never have to think about what might have been. He is now a doctor, happily married with 2 kids. I regret the fact that I was so naive and trusting of people in the start of high school. I remember anytime anybody would ask me anything I would happily tell them about it and think they wouldn't pass it on just because that was how I was. Finally, when I got it through my head and figured it out that people asked me shit for the sake of gossip and not because they cared, I stopped trusting people and hardly told anybody anything, and this is still relevant to my life today. Now it takes me a really long time to open up to somebody and tell them about my life because I've been screwed over too many times before I grew up and understood not to open up to every other person who pretends to have an interest in my life. I was told recently one of the popular girls from my high school had a crush on me our senior year. I totally missed that back then. I guess I should have figured it out when she went out of her way to see me at study hall every day. My anger. I had everything I could ask for, but I was just so angry all the time and I hurt a lot of people I cared about. I wouldn't worry so much about people liking me and would just focus on my schoolwork and staying in contact with a couple of friends from middle school that got out of the private school hell we were in. It isn't that I did poorly in school, it's that I ended up with horrible depression from the rejection and bullying I received and was scarred by having all my high school friends telling me after graduation they didn't actually like me and only kept me around to crack jokes about, because I was an easy target. So many girls I should have asked out back then. Nowadays it's either them telling me they had a crush on me in high school or their parents saying their daughter did. I would love to go back and actually do some work. I was always a person who thought school didn't matter and the sooner I was out the better. But when you're looking for a job and you didn't pass school, it's really pointless. Freshman year of high school, on the very first day of school, I put a pint of milk up into the drop ceiling. The plan was to open that milk during finals week and drop it into the senior locker section, known as the pit. Important detail. The senior lockers were known as the pit because they were at the bottom, in the middle, of a huge spiral staircase in the middle of the school. I completely chickened out, but my buddy was ready, willing and able. Come judgment day, he waits until a few of the douchier seniors are at their lockers, gets the milk out, opens it and drops it 2 stories into the pit. Rotten milk goes everywhere and the entire school smells so bad they have to postpone finals for most of the school and sent everyone to the gym. He became a school legend for that stunt. Play sports. Try harder. Make more friends. Ask Erin out. Prom. I wasted so much money to have my date not show up. I would try to be more confident in myself. Hell, I still have slight issues with speaking my opinion, adding to points made in classes, and even in terms of talking to people I don't really know. I think this would have allowed me to make friends a lot more easier and let me deal with how I thought my image was perceived.